Welcome to the NewsHour. President Donald Trump spent the morning on Capitol Hill trying to get House Republicans to line up behind his massive domestic policy bill. As he departed, the president expressed confidence both in the bill's chances and in House Speaker Mike Johnson.
I think we have unbelievable unity. I think we're going to get everything we want, and I think we're going to have a great victory, and this man has done a great job, and I think this was a tremendous session.
The bill includes trillions in tax cuts, new restrictions on Medicaid, and funding for Mr. Trump's mass deportation operation, among other things. It remains an open question whether the House Speaker can deliver on the president's agenda. Our congressional correspondent, Lisa Desjardins, is here with the latest. So, Lisa, it's great to see you.
Good to see you.
Do Republicans have the votes to get this passed?
As we speak, no, they do not. They do not have enough votes in their conference, but they have been negotiating all day with some of those holdouts. And I want to look at two key groups of holdouts that still remain. The first, these are moderate Republicans, mostly from New York, but one from California, who would like a change in the way state and local taxes are done. They want more of an exemption at a higher level for their states. Now, there is another group of holdouts on the other end of the ideological spectrum. These are fiscal conservatives, many, if not all of them, from the House Freedom Caucus. They are worried about the red ink in this bill. They want more cuts to Medicaid spending, among other things. Now, all in all, there's just a margin of 3 votes for House Republicans. So that means really the margin for error here is very small. And see that red box? That's Thomas Massie of Kentucky. He is already a hard no. That's 1 no vote. Now, these 3 in yellow, they were no's, but today talking to them, they now seem to be leaning yes. And why is that, Jeff? Because of President Trump. He went in that room today, talked to House Republicans, and had a rally. I could hear the cheering from outside the room. He told jokes, sometimes at the expense of some of his opponents on this bill. But he really gave them a message, which was don't mess with Medicaid and pass the bill. No specifics. This is Trump. But he said pass the bill, and it did affect some of those members that I talked to. Not all, but some.
And we heard the president say in that clip there this.
I think he was just trying to persuade people who weren't there yet.
Did he change your mind?
Yeah.
No.
Where are you on this bill?
I'm leaning maybe. I liked what he said about the Medicaid.
Which was what?
He messaged it very well. We're not kicking little old ladies off.
So there you hear some of them trying to get toward a yes on this bill, but they're not there now quite yet. We know some of those holdouts just left meeting with Speaker Johnson and said there's progress, but they're not there yet. Here's the thing. They're supposed to meet at 1 a.m. Eastern time tonight, and the idea was to have this finalized by then, but I don't know if they will.
Well, I was going to say, we heard the president earlier say that this bill has everything we want. What are the remaining issues, and who does it affect?
It's funny he said that, because for this bill to pass, everyone basically has to give up something. So those remaining issues are the state and local taxes, also Medicaid, and the overall spending levels on it. But when you think about it, the majority of House Republicans are on board this bill. And when you talk about that state and local taxes issue and those 5 Republicans right now that seem to really want higher levels, they're negotiating right now, but they're not even the majorities necessarily from their 2 states. So I spoke with one Republican from New York, Claudia Tenney. Now, her district is one that is kind of more rural, doesn't have as much high tax problems, but she's really weighed this, and she's come out in favor of the bill right now. Here's what she said.
It's important to New York State, but I think we got a really good deal for salt. You know, we hammered all these things out. There's a lot of things I'd love to see in the bill that would really help my communities that I didn't get, and I'm hoping we can get this on another round, possibly.
So Trump says we'll get everything we want. Clearly, that's not going to happen for most of these members, but the stakes here are so high for Republicans and for the country. If they don't pass something, everyone's taxes will go up. And also the Republican agenda, they may not have another chance at this for a few years. And need I also mention, the Senate will probably change this bill again. So Republicans need to get around this bill soon if they're going to get it out of the House.
I want to ask you, Lisa, about another matter involving Congress, and it's because the Justice Department has charged a Democratic congresswoman from New Jersey with a felony for an incident that happened at an ICE detention facility. This is a highly unusual action by the DOJ to charge a sitting member of Congress for this scuffle in which no one was injured. Tell us more about it.
And with a very serious crime, felonious assault. We're talking about Congresswoman LaMonica McIver of New Jersey. She and 2 other members of Congress visited an ICE detention facility in New Jersey. Now, they do have the ability to show up at any ICE facility and request a tour. Sometimes they will have to wait. With them was a local mayor. He does not have that same right. So what happened was the members were sort of circling around the mayor. The ICE folks were saying they would arrest the mayor if he didn't leave. He didn't leave. They moved to arrest him. And then the members of Congress sort of tried to circle around the mayor. I want to show the video of what happened here so people can judge for themselves. Now, there you see in red, Congresswoman McIver. She is part of that big scrum of people moving as the mayor is getting arrested. Here's a closer look at what she did in her interaction with those ICE officers. Here it is slowed down, because this is really the question in this charge. Her actions, was this assault? Was this a felony? Was this a crowd movement? Now, she says that she spoke on CNN today, and she has said she did nothing wrong.
This is our obligation to do. It's in our job description to have oversight over a facility, and the entire situation was escalated by ICE.
Republicans say no. She went above and beyond. She went past the borders of what she should have been doing. That they say Democrats are able to do their job as members of Congress, but that doesn't mean they can break the law. Kristi Noem, the Secretary of DHS, spoke today at a Senate hearing.
Yes, they can conduct oversight, but Senator, what I would ask is that they understand that that doesn't mean they could show up with a mob with the intention to break in and assault law enforcement officers. That's what happened at Delaney Hall.
I think we'll keep hearing about this. This gets to this idea of law and order, but also the tensions in our politics right now and how much our public servants can perhaps talk about their own actions and each other's actions without it being political itself.
Lisa Desjardins, our deep thanks to you as always. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.